Aprilia's new naked twin of the wildly popular RS model that is expected later this year, the Tuono 660. Up against Triumph's upcoming entry-level roadster that is quickly garnering a lot of praise, the Trident 660. It seems to be the year of the 660s in 2021, and while these two share the same engine size and CCs, that's pretty much where the similarities stop, with these two motorcycles presenting us with a very challenging question: power or price? How's it going? I'm Kwackajack, and welcome to another video in the Versus series. I have to admit, today's comparison was one of the most challenging ones for me to make so far, with both motorcycles being really appealing, but being so different and fitting sort of into classes of their own. Trying to find natural competitors for these two is difficult, and I debated using Triumph's Street Triple instead, but decided to stick with the 660 class. So today, instead of comparing two very similar bikes, we are going to be looking at mismatched ones and asking ourselves one big question at the end. We are going to be putting these two together to compare the styling, engine and power stats, exhaust sounds, weight, suspension and brakes, features and price before coming to a decision on which one we prefer. So follow along with me and decide for yourself which of the two 660s you would have. First, let's have a good look at the styling of these two machines. I'll throw up some photos of each now so you can get a good look. The Aprilia Tuono 660 is the naked version of the RS 660, which is a widely loved and respected motorcycle. Now you can't see it, but I'm using big air quotes when I say naked, because really, I'm not sure if it is one. With side fairings and a windscreen, it's kind of just like a mini supersport. But we'll give them the benefit of the doubt, because even though there are fairings, it is still a really good looking and sporty bike. The Triumph, on the other hand, is almost more modern classic in its design and very stylish. For me personally, I prefer the styling of the Trident over the Tuono and really dig its distinctive minimalist look. But this is personal opinion of course, so what styling do you prefer? Now, to the engines. Even though these are middleweight motorcycles, both will be coming in a learner approved version, so I'll include the power stats for both full power and learner models. On the Aprilia, you have the same 659cc parallel twin with 270-degree crank as found in the fully faired RS version. In the unrestricted model, the power is down slightly from its twin, with it now producing 95 horsepower and 67 Nm of torque. However, in its learner approved or A2 model, it will be restricted to just 47 horsepower. While we don't know the acceleration specs just yet, what we do know is that it has slightly shorter gear ratios, so it should be a bit quicker off the line, but have a lower top speed than the 225 km that the RS was capable of. We can expect the engine characteristics of a usual naked, being very fun on the streets with usable power and torque. The Triumph, on the other hand, while sharing the same engine size, has a different setup. It is featuring a 660cc liquid-cooled inline triple, which pushes out 80 horsepower and 64 Nm of torque on the full-powered model. On the restricted models, that is limited to 53 horsepower and 59 Nm of torque. Again, this should be a very usable amount of power for the streets and provide a really fun experience. It is interesting though that between the restricted models, the Triumph has the slightly higher output, and they also tout just how easy it is to reverse the process and make it fully powered again. Overall, however, while the Aprilia has one less cylinder than the Triumph, it does produce an extra 15 horsepower and a few more torque. That's probably because the engine found in the Tuono is the same design as the one in the legendary V4, just with 2 less cylinders, and that means it comes out on top in the engine department. Let's also have a listen to the stock exhausts of both bikes. Sounding good. Moving on to weight, the Aprilia comes in with a wet weight of 183 kilograms and is the lighter of the two bikes. The Triumph is 6 kilograms heavier with a wet weight of 189 kilos. Again, in the weight department, the Tuono takes the win. Now we come to suspension and brakes. The first reviews of both bikes have come back glowing, stating that while both bikes might be designed and accompanying of beginners, long-time and experienced riders have a lot to play with here as well. Aprilia up front has a 41mm upside down Kayaba fork, adjustable for rebound and preload, and an adjustable Kayaba monoshock at the back. You'll be experiencing those while sitting on the quite high 820mm tall seat, which has got a slightly more upright lean angle than the fully faired twin. When it's time to stop, you'll have two 320mm discs with 4-piston radial calipers at the front and a single 220mm disc with twin piston calipers at the rear. The brakes are Brembos and do come with ABS, although interestingly you do not get cornering ABS or a quick shifter for that matter, like you do on the RS. The spring and fork setup is slightly softer as well to allow for more comfortable rides. Over on the Triumph, you have a Showa 41mm upside down separate function fork and a Showa monoshock rear suspension unit with preload adjustment at the back. The seat height is lower on the Trident, coming in at 805mm, and that may be more approachable and comfortable for newer riders. As for the brakes, you'll get two 310mm discs with two piston Nissan calipers at the front and a 255mm disc with single piston caliper at the rear. The Trident also comes with Nissan ABS as standard, but like the Tuono, no cornering ABS. As for which handles and brakes better, it will really come down to personal preference. But as said, the first reviews of both bikes have been nothing but praise for both motorcycles, and they look like a hell of a lot of fun on the streets. Now to the features. Even though the cost of these two bikes varies quite a bit, they are both almost on the same level when it comes to extras. Both bikes have got a huge line of accessories that can be added on to change the bike to your liking. But as for what comes with the bike, on the Aprilia, you'll have their technology package featuring 5 riding modes, adjustable traction control, wheelie control, engine braking and ABS, cruise control, a ride-by-wire throttle, adjustable levers, and the same TFT display and full LEDs as the RS660. With the Triumph, you get 2 rider modes, full color TFT display, adjustable traction control, fly-by-wire throttle, Nissan ABS, full LEDs, self-cancelling indicators, assist and slipper clutch, and adjustable levers. Again, these guys are both really well equipped, but the Aprilia does come out slightly on top, with a few more adjustable riding modes and tech features like wheelie and cruise control. Now we come to the big one, price. So far, the Aprilia has been taking the lead in most categories, having more power, being slightly lighter, and with a couple more tech features over the Triumph. But here is where the Trident comes in with its party piece and really evens the playing field. While we don't know the exact right-away price of the Aprilia yet, it is expected to be dropping with a price between $18,000 to $19,000 right away here in Australia. It is supposed to be slightly cheaper than the RS660, but that is still an expensive bike. The Triumph Trident, on the other hand, here in Australia, has a right-away price of only $12,690. That is a big difference, and here is where the Triumph takes the lead. Although in Australia, currently, only the restricted Lambs model will be available to purchase, in most other countries, the price of the Triumph will be a lot cheaper than its Italian counterpart. If you were choosing between the restricted models here in Australia, the Trident does also have the higher output, and you could just unrestrict it when you're off your provisional license. So, the big question, would you rather pay quite a lot more for the Aprilia, which has got a couple more features, a cool design, 15 extra horsepower and a few more torque? Or would you go for the really competitively priced Triumph, which has also got a great engine, lots of features, and beautiful styling? Well, if you're on your A2 or restricted license, it's a no-brainer, and the Trident is absolutely the better deal. But if you're on your full license, it's a tough choice. Both put forward really compelling and well-wrapped packages and should provide a load of value. The choice gets even harder when you know that Triumph also offers the Street Triple R for still less money than Tuono, but that's got 116 horsepower. Look, this is a specs comparison, and while the Aprilia does come out on top in terms of most categories, if it were my money and was choosing between the two 660s, I'd probably go for the Trident. But that's just me. What would you do? Thanks again for watching this episode of the Versus series. Let me know down in the comments which of the two 660s you prefer, and if you'd go for the more expensive and slightly better Tuono, or for the cheaper and still great Trident. While you're down there, make sure to leave a like on the video and hit subscribe to join our fast-growing moto-loving family. I really appreciate all the support in the videos. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at Kwackajack_. Thanks again for watching guys, and until next time, see ya!